Winner's Circle, the podcast for all Averitt associates, no matter where you are or what you do. Don't forget to subscribe on your podcast app of choice so you can be sure not to miss out on new episodes. And now, LTL operations leader and host of the Winner's Circle, Amos Rogan.
Hey, welcome everybody to the Winner's Circle. Thanks so much for joining us. Just wanted to say first, before we get on to the subject of this podcast and our guests, it's hot. We're in the throes of summertime now. We just came off of a great Operation Thank You Week. And thank you so much for everything that you do for us. I always think it's a unique time and a unique thing that we do within our team to have Operation Thank You Week. But stay hydrated, stay safe. Don't rely on the soft drinks. Get something that's meaningful into your body to make sure that you are staying healthy and we can get through this summer season, because our volume and our bill count and our business is coming up. So we've got to be ready to do it. But today, speaking of additional business, guess what? We need additional people onto the team. And I want to bring in someone who was recently recognized for their people like you referrals that he got, Mr. Clint Dickey. He is a transportation specialist in our Decatur service center. Clint, welcome to the podcast. Thanks for joining us.
Thanks for having me, Amos.
So, I first want to talk about the reason why you got recognized. You were recently recognized in Team Matters, our monthly magazine that we put out, for your referrals. So just kind of tell us how all that came out and who you referred and what you did.
Okay. I think I've got 5 associates here locally I've referred. And it just comes to me knowing Averitt and the Averitt way. Also, just knowing what a good work ethic is. Several of them have come over from other carriers, and I would just watch them on the dock with one of my customers and just come up to them, hey, when you going to come work for me, for us, for Averitt. And that's when they want to know what's so good about Averitt? Well, I mean, what's not? I kind of tell them my story, how I start off in as a truckload driver. I was given an opportunity to by Matt Smith to come over and work in Decatur as a city driver. He gave me opportunities to learn the dock. And then from there, I had opportunities to learn operations, and now I'm in sales. So the fact that, there's an upward movement possibility for the drivers is very appealing to everybody. And you talk to our customers, our customers are very favorable for Averitt. The advertising does itself, I have to say very little. I mean, and really, there's not a lot of things I have to say to get drivers over here. A lot of them, I've had several call me, hey, this driver gave me your number. I'm just wondering, if y'all have any openings or anything. And that's when I start I open the conversation, up to get them on and everything, if we have something available.
Well, let's talk about that. Obviously you started out in truckload. You're in the driver ranks. You came across on the city, worked the dock, those types of things. You've experienced the Averitt culture in so many different ways. How do you portray the Averitt culture to someone who might be interested in joining the team?
Again, tell them my story, because I don't like to sound braggadocious. I'm very humble, but my story tells a lot of what Averitt's about. And I also tell them, Averitt's a big company. But when you come in and work for Averitt, you never know that, because there's such a small town feel.
Yeah.
And I think that is what keeps us successful, because every service center is, feels like it's its own world. You come to love each and every employee that you work with. And then a position like mine, of course, I've got a lot more people I speak with within Averitt outside of my service center. And you see that feel follows, every service center. It doesn't matter if it's one of the larger ones, Nashville, or one of the smaller ones, like say Gadsden, Alabama, or Fayetteville when it was open. So that feel follows the whole company.
Yeah, and obviously, like you've already said, you've done and seen a whole lot. But what do you look for when you see someone out there? Obviously, doesn't work for us, maybe yet. What qualities do you look at in finding the right person to essentially find someone like you? I think that it's not just a marketing term that we look at for our referrals. We're literally looking for people like us because we feel like we make up a pretty good team. So what do you find? What do you look for in those qualities?
The first thing I look for, I kind of stand back and watch how the customer and the driver interact. If the driver walks up, big smile on his face, how you doing? Want to, kind of make conversation with the customer, and the customer's open to that. Well, that tells me right there they've got a friendly disposition automatically. The next thing is I look at, is this guy or person driver hustling? Um, as a former driver, I know you've got to have that extra step in you, that extra gear.
Yeah.
And if I see that, yeah, that's step number two. And I also like to see if the driver is playing chess. And what I mean by that, playing a move ahead. Uh, if he gets that freight off at that current customer and he starts moving the next stop up, well, I know, well, this guy's thinking ahead, so I think all that makes a good fit. That's usually when I approach them. And when I'm in a territory, I get to know even other carriers. I'll get to know their drivers because I see them multiple times a week or, several times. And I'll eventually ask them, when you going to come work for us? What do you have open? I'll tell them. After that, we exchange information and I'll open that conversation up. And sometimes it takes a couple weeks, sometimes it's a couple months. But if they're really wanting to come work for Averitt, that they know, they're patient and everything. So that's usually how it works.
Well, being in sales, obviously, you're looking for opportunities for growth, and in a lot of cases, and you're not just selling LTL from the local standpoint. Local sales sells everything: LTL, truckload, dedicated, distribution, fulfillment, integrated, everything that we do with under those business units. So you're really looking for capacity in order to grow. So being able to find those referrals means that we're creating capacity, which means we're going to grow, right?
Correct. And when I made the move from a driver to sales, now there was about a 4-year hiatus there where I was in operations and I didn't get to go out and see my customers. Well, when I went back out and start seeing those customers again, a lot of them were surprised. Most of them, every one of them was happy for me. But that shows the fact that a former driver moves up into sales. That shows like I said, the upward movement that Averitt has available for anybody and everybody that works for us. And so when I take that and I look back at at recruiting drivers, yeah, the more drivers we have, the more things we can move, the more LC, obviously LTL and everything. I've even tried to get drivers, um, in like dedicated roles. I've been successful in that a couple times, getting drivers in dedicated roles too. And that's what I like to tell them. Look, you can do anything you want here. I tell those drivers, just like I tell a lot of customers, the answer is yes. Now, what's your question? So the upward mobility, I mean, the sky's the limit with Averitt. I know that's cliche, but it's also the truth. So
Well,
I've seen it firsthand.
absolutely. I mean, even when you look at the very service center that you're working in, um, Matt Smith, as you've already mentioned, was our service center director there in Decatur. He went to Birmingham as a service center director. Now he's the regional vice president of sales for Region 3. So, yeah, there's opportunities there. Just because you are at the level, the rank, the job, whatever you want to call it, just because you're there doesn't mean that you're stuck. It means that you have an opportunity to grow. You just have to keep your eyes open and your ear to the ground in order to do that. So, Clint, obviously you're in sales. You got to keep your eyes on the ball, or on a lot of different balls, actually, as far as that goes, because you're charged to grow revenue, to grow business. But um, you're also charged, as am I, as is everybody inside the company, to grow our team, to find people who could meet uh, their goals in life within Averitt, as far as an occupation, as far as a job goes. So, how do you kind of intertwine that? Because I know you're making multiple sales calls a day. You're doing a lot of customer interactions, but also, I know from a good salesman always rolls up and see what trailers are parked at a customer's dock, what trucks are sitting there, those types of things. How do you kind of intertwine all of that within your day?
Well, it really starts when I got to this position, and I did it also as a driver. But whether I'm at work or not, I'm representing Averitt. That's the way I've thought of it for years. Whether I'm at church on Sunday mornings or I'm out playing golf, Saturday afternoon, I'm representing Averitt from the time I get up, the time I go to bed.
Yeah.
So if I take that attitude and I go talk to any employee at any other carrier or any customer of mine, I'm representing Averitt. And as long as I can represent Averitt to the positive, which I hope is every single minute, um, that lays the foundation to, have people want to come to work for Averitt. And that's the thing; they've got to want to come work for Averitt. I don't want any employee that doesn't want to work for us, for the right reasons. I want an employee to want to work for us and represent Averitt and the Averitt way. I look at it as, I'm kind of a sports fan, as most of us are here. In the off season, which we don't have an off season, but in the off season, you try to fill the holes. You try to train towards your weaknesses and fill those holes. And that's what I look at now. I'm not saying Averitt has any holes, but I feel like we've got an all-star team as it is, but you can always be stronger. And
Absolutely.
I'm always looking to make our team stronger.
Absolutely.
And that, to me, when that person, that driver, goes to the next customer and is happy to be with Averitt and representing Averitt, well, that customer, even if they're not using us as much, they're going, that's going to raise a question. Well, what's so good about Averitt? Well, like I said, what's not good about Averitt? And then that opens the door for me to get in there and expand our services.
Well, you've already sprinkled a lot of good suggestions in this conversation, but if there was maybe a top three suggestions that you would give to those who might be watching or listening to this podcast, what are those three things that you feel like are essentials in finding and talking to someone about coming on board to the team?
The first thing I like is a smile. If you walk up to an employee or an employee of another carrier or just somebody out on the street that you happen to meet, if they have that smile, you can tell if it's genuine or not. If that smile is genuine, that person's got a positive disposition. Well, to me, that's number one. If you can figure out their work ethic, because a good work ethic makes it easier for everybody else around them. And that helps with the positivity. So if you can figure that work ethic, that's number two. And somebody that's proud to wear Averitt and be at Averitt and work with other Averitt employees. That's the next thing. So if you can kind of put those three things together, you're very rarely going to go wrong. Averitt's just built for those guys. And like I said, it makes the team stronger. It makes it more enjoyable to work for Averitt, and you're going to get more production out of it.
Well, that's fantastic advice, and obviously with the success that you've had, bringing people on board in Decatur and in Region 3 as a whole, That's you've got a good proven track record of doing that. So we really, really appreciate you, Clint. Thanks for everything that you've done, but more importantly, thanks for everything that you're going to do for us. Not only in bringing on more people on the team, but I know you're working hard there in Decatur to bring on more business for us as well. So thanks so much for joining us. You've been a great guest today, Clint, so really appreciate it.
Well, I appreciate it, Amos. Thank you for having me. It's been an honor to be on here.
Thanks very much. Folks, as we wrap up this episode, I just want to mention one little thing to you to think about, and that's talking about joy. And you might be wondering, why are you talking about joy, Amos? Well, here's the reason why. I want to ask you a question. Do you enjoy what you do, or do you work to find joy? You know, we all have bad days. We all either have things in our personal lives or in the processes of our jobs that we do every single day that we wish we could probably done a little bit differently or do a little bit differently. But the thing about it is that if we truly enjoy what we do, then we can measure success in a lot of different ways. And, you know, our People Like You program, our referral program that we have, not only rewards us for bringing on those people, but it really gives us an opportunity to show others how not only are we providing the best service and the best quality for our customers across the industry, but guess what? We actually kind of like what we do as well. So when you're sharing those things with people, know and understand you might be sharing something that they don't even have in their lives right now, and you're providing them an opportunity to find something that gives them that joy in doing what they do and not trying to chase it. So when you do that, make sure you get rewarded for it, but also understand that there's other rewards outside of the monetary side of things that you can do in order to provide those things. So let's get on board. Let's find those referrals. Let's get some more people on board, because that's what keeps us in the winner's circle. Be blessed, be safe, and we'll talk to you next time.